Greetings and
Ready.
welcome, you son of a bitch, to Old Drunken Discography. I'll just start over.
Um,
Greetings and welcome to Old Drunken Discography. I know, I see you doing it. I see you doing it. Where old friends come together, BS, argue, occasionally agree, and discuss a musical artist. Each week, one of us selects an artist to bring to the panel for everyone to listen, discuss, and rank the studio albums. I'm Jason, and with me is Tim.
Hello.
And returning special guest, Hannah.
hey, what's up?
This week, one of us did not select an artist, though. Instead, our Patreon member, Hannah, selected one for us. If you would like to choose an artist for us to cover, along with some other cool perks, check out our Patreon in the link below. So, as you can see, Bill's out tonight. Who knows what he's doing? I don't know.
I heard he was down at the docks beating up thugs.
Is that it? Is he like a superhero at night? Is he Batman?
I don't know. That's just what I heard.
He's something.
All right, so Caravan Palace. I've never heard of this band. My history is going to be short here. I never even heard of this band until Hannah said you guys should do Caravan Palace. So it's all new to me. What about you,
Mine's
Tim?
even shorter. I keep trying to call him Crystal Palace, but no, it's Caravan Palace.
I struggled for the first week or so remembering the name. That's just because we're old and drunk, though, so
Well, yeah, true.
That's fair.
we don't like to learn new things, damn it.
All right.
Oh.
Well, my history with them goes back a long way. So, I first heard they released a single called "Clash," and I think in 2011. That was the first song I heard from them. That's on their second album. And at that time, like steampunk was really like a kind of a popular thing at the time, and dubstep and all that. And I heard that song and I was like, oh yes, steampunk. There was a song or a game that came out, BioShock Infinite. I don't know if you guys are
Oh, hell yeah.
familiar with that game.
Are they
You
in
know how
that?
yeah, but you know how it incorporates like the old like 20s stuff, but with like futuristic aspects. And so I felt like that song kind of like encapsulated that, got my attention, and I started diving into them then. So I've listened to them since 2011. That was my first.
So right
Yes,
off the
intro.
bat, then this is steampunk or steampunk adjacent.
Yes, I think that's what
Interesting.
got them popular in the first place, because the steampunk thing was really popular around like
Oh, I
2010,
definitely remember it.
2012. Yeah, and that's about when they came out and really started getting taken off. So I think
Yeah,
that really helped them
I
with
played
their
some
popularity.
steampunk shows.
Yeah. So you get it, right? Like the
Yeah.
kind of like the blending of like the old and the new.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay.
So I guess that's my history of them. I've listened to them this whole time. Off and on, I get on these kicks where I love electro swing as a whole genre. They're not the only band from that genre that I listen to, but they are my favorite.
All right.
Cool. Well, thanks for picking them. It was interesting.
I
It
hoped
was
it
interesting. It could have been worse.
Yeah, it's a bit different from what you guys usually do, so I thought it would be kind of a fun change of pace.
Yeah.
So I told Joe Silva I think he would really like them. Like they're kind of up his alley.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with the first record. And we will do an Is It Art because I have questions about the artwork for all of these. So stick around to that for that at the end of the...
And grab onto your berets. Have them on the standby.
This may be the most relevant time having a beret. Like fits the best.
They
What
are
we've
French.
done. So I started it. And I kind of knew what I was getting into because Hannah kind of warned me. I did like the opening track. It was pretty cool. I liked the softer tones on the music, and the vocal delivery was pretty good. I am reading the wrong fucking notes.
It was shit.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think there was vocals in that first song on the
Nope.
first album.
Nope, I'm reading the wrong page. Getting off to a good start tonight. All right, Dragons. I usually rank the opening lines in discography, but I'm going to bypass that one this time as this band is mostly instrumental. At least this album was. Opening track is bouncy and has some energy. I dug it. Starscat. Intro reminded me of some Pixar's Ratatouille. But now to talk about the scat. Mixed feelings on it. On one hand, I do not like the robotic effects on the vocals, but at the same time, I'm looking at that album cover, and if I imagine this robot sitting there chilling and listening to this album and scatting over it, it works. It's weird.
Yep.
Hashtag robot scat.
Hashtag robot scat. Track 3, I really like the vocals. It took a bit to get them into the song, but it was super pretty voice. Track 4 reminds me of the game Cuphead. This was a highlight on the album for me. Ooh, just kind of happened. Susie's a split between high energy female vocals and some more crazy scat. The music was fun. Je m'amuse was fine. Violente, back to some Pixar shorts or Ratatouille, which I like that one. Brother Swing was impressive, super fast vocal delivery. Track 10 is another band I can't fucking pronounce half the song titles, but whatever.
The French names.
Well, boy.
Well, at least I can use that as an excuse. Usually it's just English names I can't pronounce. There was some cool violin shit happening.
Faux
pas. Not much else though. Like I like the violin, but other than that, Sofa was super short, but reminded me of something from late night MTV, like a liquid television or something. And it led right into Bambos, which would be a top song contender for me from the album. Cuphead vibes again, but it's fun. Lazy Place, slow and a little somber. It's good, but in the flow of the album, it took me down from the previous song, which I was really into. And then luckily We Can Dance picks it back up. It's energetic and fun. Has a few crazy changes in it with some weird robotic breakdown about halfway in. Good shit. Track 15 is long, but it stays interesting. This isn't a Paramore self-titled future closing track. There's a lot of things happening here, so it's a solid album. Nothing's awful. The flow of it's a little weird. Like it can hype you up, but then drop the energy from track to track. The slow stuff was good musically. Just from the point of a full album listening experience, it takes a little adjusting. But I could see myself making my own playlist and it working better, like in a digital streaming age, like making my own. I could see it working.
I can really follow right up on that. My notes are going to be pretty similar. I immediately thought of Mr. Bungle. And then it's like, okay, what's going on here? Because there's a lot of nice jazz influence and, just
cool transitions, tempo changes.
Yeah. And I could definitely hear the influence there right away. And then as I'm listening to the album, I really kind of realized where, like, because I'm going to look at this band in two different perspectives, pretty much for every album. But, like, on the listener side, like, this is pretty good electro pop, Like, every time they kick in with that cheesy techno beat, though, I get a little twingy. But all the samples and the loops and everything, like, it's produced really well. They are loops, which when you don't change the drum beat, it kind of can lose me a little bit. But the samples were interesting enough, and they had enough just weird syncopated extra tracks that were coming in and out and just creating this really chaotic atmosphere throughout the whole album that worked really well. But I'm also spoiled being a Mr. Bungle fan, and I couldn't help but think that, like, some of the poppier Mike Patton stuff, like Peeping Tom or Mondo Cane, like, you get everything you get here, but done even better. And then that's also a personal thing where like, okay, there is a lot of digital manipulation on this album, and like this entire discography, there isn't a single real drum anywhere to be found, and you can hear it. Like these are just programmed drums, and they kind of rely on the same couple beats. Couple of the songs will start blending in together because while the loop itself is pretty cool, you'll find like 3 songs later they've got a pretty cool loop too, but it really melodically mirrors a loop you've already heard.
Right.
They kind of take you to the same place. But again, that being said, for like electronic pop music, I'll take this over 98% of it because there are enough interesting things going on here. It is mostly instrumental. That like about 40 minutes into this hour-long album, I was like, yeah, they probably could have ended it here.
Was it that long? This one didn't feel long to me.
55 minutes. Yeah.
Wow.
And it did. It felt about 10, 15 minutes too long for me. But it was enjoyable. And it'll get you moving. I really pictured like this is probably a really good Sunday morning clean your house kind of album. Yeah, it'll get you moving. You'll feel good. But there's no real substance here. Like, all the programmed drums, it's very on the grid. And I'm throughout this whole discography, I've been pretty amused. Like, it swings, but it's on the grid, so there's no actual swing. So it's kind of it's jarring in places for me, but I know that I'm hearing it, differently than an average listener that's gonna just, tap their toe or whatever. And if that's where you're at, this is probably really good.
And when you
Fair
say
enough.
you mean like a drummer, right? Like a musical drummer.
Yeah. Well, even and yeah, exactly.
Because I didn't even
As
hear
somebody
the
who's,
electronic.
like, produced music and stuff.
Right.
Like this one sounded
And-
more instrumental, like orchestral, or more instrumentation than some of the future ones. Like I heard different
Sure.
And what
violins
I'm
and-
listening to is I'm not really listening to the drums either. I'm listening to the individual instruments as a
Sure.
person who actually plays in an orchestra. Like that's what I listen to.
Sure, but
so-
even then, they're all loops.
Yeah, they are. Except for like a few pieces here and there where they have their little solos, which really stand out to me. So
There are some really nice solos on here, a couple really tasty guitar parts. There's some really cool bass stuff going on. I've got a few top song contenders from this album, so I'm just not even gonna spoil it.
fair enough. All right, well, I guess I'll get into mine. So I really like, this is the first album that I owned. When I first got into them, I went out and bought their first album, of course. As soon as I heard their one single, I was like, I got to listen to the whole album. So I just started with their first album. And I listened to this album, oh my gosh, so many times over the years. And I just feel like every song in this album feels like it's a big performance. Like each one is its own big grand look at me kind of thing, but in a different way. And I think they blend the old styles of music and samples and stuff from older things perfectly with the new, like you were saying, the electronic drums and stuff. The modern and old blend together really well. So going right into the songs, for Dragons, I'm always a fan of instrumental openings and closings. A song starts that, or an album starts that way or closes that way. I'm a big fan of it, and this one was really great. It's high energy. There's a lot of experimental stuff going on. It kind of encompasses everything that you're going to receive when you listen to these guys. This song is what you're going to expect from them going forward. You get a little bit of all the little bits and pieces. I don't know. It gives off this vibe that they love music. They love what they're doing. And it's not about anything but making the music and enjoying it. If that makes sense.
They were like a hired band, right? They weren't a
Yeah, they got their start. They got hired on MySpace individually because they needed to make music for a silent adult film, and that's how they all met each other.
And your
So
Were there
research,
title cards and were there mines?
yeah, so you could, knowing that background, a silent adult film where you could understand exactly where they're coming from in their style of music. It just makes sense.
Tim, did you do your research and watch that film?
No, I didn't get a chance to, unfortunately.
Oh, one thing I noticed about these albums, and I'm going to start because Dragons kind of like starts this one out. Each one of these albums kind of tells a bit of a story in a way. And I feel like Dragons is the opening scene of like a movie that features like a great chase. Like you see like the cartoons and like cartoon chases, like Scooby Doo, for example, and they're running in and out of doors and they're running back and forth. And that's what this song felt like to me. Like an opening scene of a movie where it's just like chaotic and they're running from the bad guy or something. That's the vibe I get. And then moving into Star Scat, personally, I like scat in like jazz music. I like it. You don't have to have words. You're just feeling the music, and if you're really into it, you just like da 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 da. With the beat. That's great. And I always love that. It makes me feel like the people really are like feeling the music.
That
And
robot was feeling it.
I was actually really into the distortion, the robotic distortions they use. It just like scratches the brain just right. And I totally get that it's not for everyone, but for me personally, I love it. I just love it. And then the way the song ends just reminds me of like show tunes, kind of like the big ended with the night. It was much slower compared to the energy of the first two. This is the first time you hear Zoe's voice, and she has amazing vocals. And she really, in this song, kind of shows that off. It's not really my favorite song, but you can really tell she's got some powerful vocals, and the clarinet and violin in the song is really beautiful. Jolly Coquine, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Basically, in French, it means like a pretty naughty girl, like a pretty girl who's kind of like mischievous or whatever. And I think it makes sense because, the song's high energy and fun, and it's kind of like poppy and just about like being flirty and having fun. And I think this was their first real big single too. So,
and it did have like an old time feel
song
to it too. Like
it does. Like a 20s, like
20s
flapper.
swing.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that one. I like the that the voice is the sustained notes, because usually like the bass or the underlying instrumentals kind of have like sustained notes with the melody on top, but in this one the voice is sustained notes with the instrumentals being the melody on top of that. And I like that. It kind of it reminded me of something you'd hear in like a black and white film, maybe. I don't know if you guys got that. I also am a fan that they use like the record scratch static to make it sound like it's an old recording. That's like, I'm kind of a fan of that, and they use that in a lot of songs actually. I really liked Susie. That one also, it's just like I can't sit still when I listen to it. Every time I listen to that song, I just have to move. So it just, I don't know, the beat, everything, it moves you. J'aime muse. Okay, it means I'm having fun in French. I don't know how to pronounce it because I don't speak French, but I can kind of understand it. And that's kind of what the song is about. It's it also it has a very like a dubstep kind of beat to it, but at the same time it also sounds like mall music. I don't know, like elevator music maybe.
That's going to be a question I was going to be bringing up here shortly.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if this album was covering like a movie, this would be the scene where the characters are going like on a shopping spree montage, and they'd be like going in all the stores, and then there of course would be like a moment where they're on like a carousel in the middle of the mall or something, and like you can see that when you listen to the song. Violente, means violent waltz. And this one it's a waltz. If you listen to it, it's like in 6/8 time. You can tell it's still jazz, but it definitely has that 6/8 time, and it has more of like a circus feel to it. Brothers Swing. The thing about this one I loved was the bass line. I wasn't a big fan of the song otherwise, but I do really like the bass throughout it. Lenval, I guess how you say that. It means the flight. It starts out sounding kind of like a music box. It's real close to like a lullaby to me. I don't know. It's kind of calming down, like a dream sequence almost. It never loses like its music box quality through the whole song, and it kind of sounds like clockwork. Like your music box, there's like a clockwork ballerina dancing or something. That's what this song evokes for me. And I really loved the guitar in it, and I think overall it's a really beautiful song. Sofa's pretty good. It's just like an interlude in the album. Short and sweet, and I like the record scratch sound again on it. Bamboo, very fun. I felt like this one was really experimental. They're obviously in the trombone and the brass, they're using like a mute, which gives it that kind of fun sound. I'm always a fan of that. There seemed to be a little bit less electronic influences in this, and just a lot of like experimental stuff with instruments. There's like a nice clarinet solo in it as well, and I don't know, I like that. We Can Dance. There's some distortion on Zoe's voice, the lead singer. The other songs, her voice is pretty clear. There's a lot of distortion on her voice in this one. And it's joyful, it's lighthearted. There's this little robot break in the middle. And I don't know, it's kind of like chaotic and fun. And the last song, Le Caravan, to sum it all up, it's just like they're here for the fun of the music. This is us, this is who we are, and we're just fun. And I don't know, the whole album reminds me of like a black and white cartoon, like Betty Boop or Felix the Cat, where like the characters are getting into like these hijinks and silly, mischievous fun, and in the end, it all just kind of resolves. And
isn't that the plot to Ratatouille?
Yeah, basically. But I don't know. It's just like I can just picture this little robot guy just having fun and going out on the town and like going to different clubs, and like different things happen at different clubs, you know, like he might get chased out of one and then he goes like on an adventure in another one, and just like all these fun little things. And I don't know, I just really liked the vibe to this. It feels like it's fun for the sake of the music. Like they're not trying to I don't know, make money or anything. They're just doing it because they love the music, they like doing it, and they're having fun doing it. And it shows, because most of the songs are really upbeat and just about dancing and getting up and dancing.
Yeah.
That's my take on this one.
Okay.
I think Cuphead, it reminds me of, because some of it was like high energy, but like old school high energy, and you're about to die because there's 50,000 bullets coming at you.
And time's running out.
Right? Yeah, it's so high energy. Like you just can't sit still when you listen to it. You just want to like move, and I don't know. I love it.
Well, it automatically goes in first place, and as you can see, that's at the end now. Because thank you, Ed,
doing it this way.
For doing it this way. We don't have to rank it yet. Stay tuned. Panic is next.
Oh
no!
That
was like the calmest panic I've ever heard.
Well, you know, I got to keep it down for the children in the streets.
That's true. Stick around. Panic is next. If you like Caravan Palace, give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Who else is covering this band on YouTube, ranking these albums? Come on. That's all I got. Be safe and make good decisions.
And then you go a little woo, and then a little whoop, 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 and then it's all, and then you're ready to go again.